Ladies and gentlemen, let's get real for a second. If you're here listening to this, it's because deep down, you know there's something inside you that's holding you back. You can feel it, right? That struggle, that resistance, that war within yourself that keeps you from becoming who you know you were meant to be. But here's the truth. Struggle isn't the enemy. Struggle is the signal. It's life trying to shake you up and say, wake up, you were meant for more. So today we're going to rip off the mask, expose the 6 reasons you're struggling within yourself, and most importantly, show you how to break. 1, you are at war with your own mind. Listen, your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. And right now, for a lot of you, it's running the show. You've got thoughts that tell you, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I'll fail. But let me tell you something. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just patterns. And patterns can be broken. You want change, you've got to start by taking control of the story you tell yourself. 2, you're addicted to comfort. We live in a world that worships comfort, easy food, easy entertainment, easy everything. But comfort is a killer. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. You know that. Every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce weakness. The strongest people, the most successful people, they lean into discomfort. They train their minds and bodies to be uncomfortable because that's where transformation happens. 3, you're waiting for permission. How many of you are waiting? Waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for someone to validate you, waiting for life to give you a green light. Let me be clear. No one is coming to save you. If you want to change, if you want to break free from your struggles, you have to give yourself permission to step up. Own your life. Take charge. Make the decision that you are done playing small. Or you're focusing on what you can't control. How much time do you spend worrying about things you can't control? The economy, the past, other people's opinions. Listen to me. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you keep feeding energy into things you can't change, you'll stay stuck. Shift your focus. What can you control? Your actions, your mindset, your daily habits. Master those, and your life will transform. 5, your environment is keeping you stuck. Let me ask you, who are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of conversations are you having? What kind of energy is around you? Because your environment is either pulling you up or dragging you down. You need to be around people who challenge you, who push you to be better, who refuse to let you settle. If your environment is toxic, change it. If your circle is weak, level up. 6, you haven't made it a must. This is the big one. Most people don't change because they want to. They change because they have to. If your struggles haven't become painful enough, if you haven't reached that breaking point where you say, enough is enough, you'll stay in the same cycle. So my question to you is this: how much longer are you willing to tolerate this? How much longer will you let this battle inside you keep you from living at your highest level? It's time to decide. Your struggle is not your identity. Your struggle is your wake-up call, but no one can make the decision for you. You either step up and take control of your life, or you stay stuck in the same loop. The choice is yours. So today I challenge you, decide. Decide that you are done with the struggle. Decide that you are done letting your fears, your excuses, your old patterns run the show. Decide that from this moment on, you are in control. Because the second you make that decision, everything changes. Your mind is the battleground where every victory or defeat is decided long before it happens in the real world. Everything you experience, every emotion you feel, and every action you take originates from the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind. The problem is most people let their minds run on autopilot. They allow negative, limiting, and self-sabotaging thoughts to take root and dictate their decisions. They don't realize that their mind is constantly shaping their reality, reinforcing patterns that keep them stuck in the same cycles of struggle and frustration. Think about this. Every time you tell yourself you're not good enough, every time you doubt your ability, every time you hesitate because of fear, You're programming your mind to believe that story. And once your mind accepts a belief as truth, it will do everything in its power to prove it right. If you believe deep down that you'll always struggle, that life is unfair, that you're not capable of more, then your mind will filter reality in a way that reinforces those beliefs. It will make sure you see all the reasons why success isn't possible for you. It will amplify your failures and minimize your wins. It will keep you stuck, not because you actually lack the ability to change, but because your mind is working against you instead of for you. This is why two people can experience the same situation but have completely different reactions. One person faces rejection and sees it as a reason to give up, while another sees it as motivation to try again. One person loses a job and falls into despair, while another takes it as an opportunity to start something new. The difference isn't in their external circumstances. The lens through which you view life determines how you respond to challenges, opportunities, and setbacks. Your mind is the filter that shapes everything. If your filter is wired for negativity, you'll always find reasons to struggle. If your filter is wired for growth, you'll always find a way forward. The truth is, your mind is incredibly powerful. It can be your greatest asset or your biggest liability. It can work for you or against you depending on how you train it. And make no mistake, your mind is being trained every single day, whether you're conscious of it or not. The thoughts you repeat, the words you use, the things you focus on, they're all shaping your mental programming. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not capable, that life is unfair, that you'll never be successful, then you're strengthening neural pathways that make those beliefs more deeply ingrained. But if you deliberately shift your focus, if you start feeding your mind empowering thoughts, if you challenge the negative stories you've been telling yourself, you can rewire your mind to work in your favor. The challenge is that most people don't take control of this process. They assume their thoughts are just random, that their mindset is something they're born with rather than something they can shape. They let old programming from childhood, past experiences, and external influences dictate their beliefs without ever questioning them. They don't realize that they have the power to rewrite their internal script at any moment. But rewriting that script requires effort. It requires awareness. It requires consciously choosing thoughts that serve you instead of thoughts that sabotage you. One of the biggest reasons people struggle within themselves is because they believe their thoughts are facts. But thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are just patterns. They are the result of conditioning, repetition, and past experiences. Just because a thought appears in your mind doesn't mean it's true. And just because you've thought something for years doesn't mean you have to keep thinking it. The key to mastering your mind is recognizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. You have the power to question them, to challenge them, to replace them with something better. It starts with awareness. Most people are so caught up in their own mental noise that they don't even realize how much of their struggle comes from the stories they keep telling themselves. They don't see how their inner dialogue is keeping them stuck. If you want to break free from internal struggle, you need to start listening to your thoughts. You need to pay attention to the words you use when you talk to yourself. You need to catch yourself when you start falling into negative mental loops. And when you do, you need to disrupt the pattern. You need to stop letting those old stories run your life. Rewiring your mind isn't about forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It's not about pretending that challenges don't exist or that everything is perfect. It's about taking control of your focus. It's about shifting your attention away from what you can't do and toward what you can. It's about finding solutions instead of fixating on problems. It's about recognizing that every thought is a choice and choosing thoughts that empower you rather than thoughts that weaken you. This doesn't happen overnight. Changing your mental programming takes time, effort, and repetition. Just like you wouldn't go to the gym once and expect to be in peak physical shape, you can't expect to think a few positive thoughts and suddenly erase years of negative conditioning. It requires daily practice. It requires discipline. It requires making the conscious decision over and over again to shift your focus, to challenge your old beliefs, to rewire your mind for success instead of struggle. One of the simplest but most powerful ways to do this is by controlling your language. The words you use have a direct impact on how you feel and how you see yourself. Every time you say, I can't, you reinforce a mental block. Every time you say, I'm not good at this, you limit yourself. But when you start shifting your language, even in small ways, you begin to shift your reality. Instead of saying, I can't do this, try saying, I'm figuring this out. Instead of saying, I always fail, try saying, every failure is a lesson that makes me stronger. Instead of saying, I'm stuck, try saying, I'm in the process of growing. These subtle shifts might seem small, but they create massive changes over time. Another key to mastering your mind is controlling what you feed it. Just like your body is shaped by the food you eat, your mind is shaped by the information you consume. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, whether it's through the news, social media, or toxic people, you're programming your mind for stress, doubt, and fear. But if you deliberately choose to fill your mind with empowering content, if you read books that challenge you, if you listen to people who inspire you, if you expose yourself to ideas that expand your thinking, you will start to rewire your mind for success. Your environment plays a huge role in this process. If you're constantly surrounded by people who reinforce negative beliefs, it's going to be much harder to shift your mindset. You need to be intentional about who you spend time with, what conversations you engage in, and what influences you allow into your mental space. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to think bigger, who push you to grow, who refuse to let you settle for less than you're capable of. The more you immerse yourself in a growth-oriented environment, the faster you'll reprogram your mind for success. Mastering your mind is the foundation for everything else in your life. When you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your emotions. When you take control of your emotions, you take control of your actions. And when you take control of your actions, you take control of your destiny. Your mind is the starting point of every result you create in your life. If you want to change your reality, you have to start by changing the way you think. Discomfort is the gateway to growth, yet most people spend their entire lives running from it. We are wired to seek comfort, to avoid pain, to stay in familiar territory because it feels safe. But the truth is, comfort is the enemy of progress. It's a trap that keeps you stagnant, stuck in the same patterns, the same struggles, and the same limitations. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you reinforce weakness. Every time you avoid discomfort, you strengthen the habit of quitting, of settling, of playing small. If you want to break free from the struggle within yourself, you have to rewire your relationship with discomfort. You have to stop seeing it as something to escape and start seeing it as something to embrace. Think about the moments in your life when you truly grew, when you became stronger, when you evolved into a better version of yourself. Did those moments come from ease and comfort? Or did they come from struggle, from challenge, from pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible? Every major breakthrough in your life has come on the other side of discomfort. The problem is, most people forget that. They crave growth, but they avoid the very thing that creates it. They want to be stronger, but they avoid situations that require strength. They want confidence, but they avoid experiences that test their limits. They want success, but they avoid the hard work, the uncertainty, the risks that success demands. They don't realize that discomfort is not an obstacle, it's the path. The people who achieve the most in life are not the ones who avoid discomfort. They are the ones who seek it out, who train themselves to thrive in it, who rewire their brains to associate discomfort with progress instead of pain. Because discomfort is not pain. Discomfort is growth in progress. It's the process of stretching beyond your current limitations, breaking through old barriers, becoming someone new. But that process is uncomfortable. It forces you to face your fears, to push past your excuses, to go beyond what feels easy. That's why most people stay stuck. They choose short-term comfort over long-term fulfillment. They take the easy road, not realizing that the easy road always leads to a harder life. Avoiding discomfort doesn't just keep you stuck, it weakens you. Every time you back away from a challenge, you reinforce the belief that you can't handle it. Every time you choose ease over effort, you make yourself mentally softer. And over time, that softness turns into frustration, into self-doubt, into the feeling that you're not capable of more. Because deep down, you know the truth. You know you're playing small, you're avoiding the work. And that internal conflict eats away at you, creating even more struggle. It's not the discomfort itself that causes suffering, it's your resistance to it. The more you resist, the more power it has over you. The more you lean into it, the stronger you become. Look at any area of life where growth happens. In the gym, muscles don't grow without resistance. You have to lift heavier, push harder, embrace the burn. In business, success doesn't come without uncertainty, risk, and failure. You have to put yourself out there, make bold moves, take uncomfortable action. In relationships, deep connection doesn't happen without vulnerability, honesty, and sometimes difficult conversations. Growth in any area demands discomfort. And yet most people still try to find a way around it, hoping for some secret shortcut that doesn't require struggle. But there is no shortcut. There is no way to grow without going through the fire. The only question is whether you will avoid it or embrace it. Your ability to handle discomfort determines your success in every area of life. The greater your tolerance for discomfort, the more unstoppable you become. The less you fear it, the more freedom you have. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they lack ability or intelligence or opportunity. They fail because they quit too soon. They hit resistance, they feel discomfort, and they back off. They tell themselves it's too hard, that it's not meant for them, that they'll try again later, but later never comes. Because they've trained themselves to quit. They've built the habit of avoiding discomfort instead of leaning into it. And that habit, more than anything else, is what keeps people stuck in struggle. The good news is, just as you can train yourself to avoid discomfort, you can also train yourself to embrace it. You can rewire your mind to associate discomfort with growth, with progress, with becoming the person you were meant to be. It starts with small shifts. Instead of backing away from things that feel hard, lean into them. Instead of looking for the easiest way, challenge yourself to take the harder path. Instead of avoiding fear, step directly into it. Every time you do, you strengthen yourself. You build resilience. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, stronger than your limitations. And over time, you become the kind of person who thrives in discomfort, who seeks out challenges, who refuses to settle for an easy life, because you know that an easy life is not a fulfilling life. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle is not talent, not luck, not intelligence. It's their relationship with discomfort. Successful people understand that growth requires sacrifice, that transformation demands struggle, that everything they want is on the other side of discomfort. They don't run from it, they don't complain about it, they don't let it stop them, they embrace it. They welcome it, they use it as fuel, and because of that they rise while others remain stuck. Most people let discomfort dictate their choices. They let fear of pain, fear of failure, fear of uncertainty keep them from taking action. But discomfort is not a sign to stop, it's a sign to keep going. The moment you feel resistance, the moment you feel discomfort, the moment everything in you wants to quit, that's the moment you have to push harder. Because that's where growth happens. That's where transformation begins. That's where you separate yourself from the masses who choose comfort over greatness. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be the person who avoids discomfort and stays stuck in the same patterns, the same struggles, the same unfulfilled potential? Or do you want to be the person who embraces discomfort, who uses it as a weapon, who builds the mental and emotional strength to handle anything life throws your way? That decision will determine everything. Because in the end, success doesn't come down to who is the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. It comes down to who is willing to endure the discomfort required to grow. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for someone to give them permission to take action, to chase their dreams, to step into the life they truly want. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you permission. No one is going to hand you the life you dream of on a silver platter. If you keep waiting, you will wait forever, because there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when everything aligns just right. If you want something, you have to take it. You have to make the decision that you are done waiting, that you are done asking for permission, that you are going to step up and take control of your own destiny. The biggest reason people stay stuck in life is because they believe they need something outside of themselves to move forward. They think they need more knowledge, more skills, more validation, more approval from others before they can start. They look at successful people and think they must have some advantage I don't have. They convince themselves that they need someone else to open a door for them, to give them an opportunity, to tell them they are ready. But the people who succeed in life are the ones who stop waiting and start acting. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for someone to choose them. They choose themselves. They step up even when they're scared, even when they feel unqualified, even when they don't have all the answers. Most people let fear dictate their choices. They are afraid of failing, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of what others might think. So they hesitate, they second guess themselves. They wait for some external sign that will tell them now is the time. But fear is always going to be there. It never goes away. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who break through is that successful people act in spite of fear. They understand that waiting for fear to disappear is a losing game. They don't let fear make their decisions for them. They feel the fear, acknowledge it, and take action anyway. If you look at anyone who has achieved great things, you will notice one common trait. They are people who take massive action. They don't sit around analyzing every possibility, waiting until they are 100% certain of success. They move forward, they make decisions, they learn along the way. They know that action leads to clarity, not the other way around. Most people think they need clarity before they can take action, but they think they need to know exactly how everything will unfold before they start. But that's not how life works. You get clarity by taking action, by stepping into the unknown, by making mistakes and learning from them. The truth is, most of the things people wait for are just excuses. They say they are waiting for the right time, but what they really mean is that they are afraid to fail. They say they need more knowledge, but what they really mean is that they are afraid to start without guarantees. They say they need permission, but what they really mean is that they are afraid of what others will think. And because they let these excuses control them, they never take the first step. They stay stuck in their comfort zones, watching others move ahead while they remain in the same place, trapped by their own hesitation. No one who ever accomplished anything great did so by waiting for permission. The world doesn't work that way. The people who make an impact, who achieve their dreams, who create extraordinary lives, are the ones who take initiative. They decide that they are done waiting. They stop looking to others for validation. They stop asking for approval. They take ownership of their lives and make things happen. They understand that no one is going to come along and give them the perfect opportunity. They create their own opportunities. Most people are afraid to take that level of ownership because it means they can no longer make excuses. It's easier to blame external factors. It's easier to tell yourself that you're not where you want to be because of your circumstances, because of other people, because of bad luck. But when you take full responsibility, when you stop waiting for permission, you realize that everything is in your control And that level of control is terrifying for some people because it means they have no one to blame but themselves if they stay stuck. It means they have to face the fact that they are the only thing standing in their way. The good news is that once you accept this truth, you become unstoppable. You realize that you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone to tell you that you are ready. You don't need conditions to be perfect before you start. You just need to make a decision to stop waiting, a decision to stop playing small, a decision to step up and take action even if you don't feel ready, because readiness is a myth. No one ever feels 100% ready. The people who win in life are the ones who take the leap before they feel ready, who trust themselves enough to figure things out as they go. Every day you wait is a day you could have been making progress. Every day you hesitate is a day you could have been learning, growing, and getting closer to your goals. Think about how much time you have already wasted waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect time, waiting to feel ready. And now ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to wait? How many more days, weeks, months, or even years will pass before you decide that enough is enough? Because time is passing either way. The only difference is whether you use it to move forward or whether you let it slip through your fingers. The people who achieve their dreams are not the ones who are the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most connected. They are the ones who refuse to wait. They are the ones who step up and take action when others hesitate. They are the ones who understand that the only permission they need is their own. If you want something, go after it. If you have a goal, start working toward it. If you have a dream, take the first step today, even if it's small. Because the only way to get where you want to go is to stop waiting and start moving. Everything in your life is dictated by what you focus on. Your thoughts shape your emotions dictate your actions, and your actions determine your results. Yet most people allow their focus to be controlled by fear, negativity, and distractions. They spend their days consumed by things outside of their control, what other people are doing, what went wrong in the past, what might go wrong in the future. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, frustrated, and powerless. The truth is, whatever you focus on expands. If you focus on problems, you will find more problems. If you focus on possibilities, you will find solutions. Your mind is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you direct it toward becomes bigger and more powerful in your life. Most people don't realize they have control over their focus. They go through life reacting to whatever happens, letting circumstances dictate their emotions, letting external events control their internal state. They wake up in the morning and immediately check their phone, flooding their mind with news, social media, and other people's opinions before they even take a moment to direct their own thoughts. They spend their days worrying about things they can't change, obsessing over the past, or fearing the future. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, overwhelmed, and stuck. The problem is not their circumstances, it's their focus. Because at any given moment, there are always things that are going wrong, and there are always things that are going right. There are always obstacles, and there are always opportunities. What determines your experience of life is which of those you choose to focus on. Your brain is constantly scanning for information to support the beliefs you already have. If you believe life is unfair, your brain will find endless evidence to confirm that. If you believe you are unlucky, your brain will highlight every misfortune and filter out the good. But if you train your mind to focus on solutions instead of problems, on opportunities instead of obstacles, you will start to see a completely different reality. Because nothing in life has meaning except the meaning you give it. Two people can experience the same event and interpret it in completely different ways. One person loses a job and sees it as a devastating failure. Another loses a job and sees it as an opportunity to start something new. The difference is not in the event itself, it's in what they choose to focus on. Your focus determines your emotions. If you focus on everything that's wrong in your life, you will feel stressed, angry, and defeated. If you focus on what you're grateful for, you will feel strong, confident, and empowered. Most people don't realize that they have the power to shift their emotional state simply by shifting their focus. They think their emotions are controlled by their circumstances, but In reality, their emotions are controlled by what they pay attention to. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change what you focus on. Because you can't feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You can't feel overwhelmed and empowered at the same time. The emotion you experience is determined by what you give your attention to. Think about the last time you felt completely overwhelmed. What were you focusing on? Chances are you were thinking about all the things that could go wrong, all the ways you might fail, all the reasons why it was too hard. Now think about a time when you felt unstoppable. What were you focusing on then? Probably on your strengths, your progress, the possibilities ahead of you. The situation didn't determine your feelings, your focus did. And that means you have the power to shift your emotions at any moment by shifting your focus. One of the biggest traps people fall into is focusing on what they can't control. They spend their energy worrying about other people's opinions, about things that happened in the past, about global events they have no power over. And because they are focusing on things they can't change, they feel powerless. But when you shift your focus to what you can control, your actions, your mindset, your response to challenges, you regain your power. You stop wasting energy on things you have no influence over, and you start directing that energy toward things that can actually make a difference in your life. Success is not about having perfect circumstances. It's about learning to direct your focus toward what moves you forward. If you focus on obstacles, you will see nothing but reasons why you can't succeed. If you focus on possibilities, you will start seeing opportunities everywhere. Your brain is constantly filtering out information, deciding what is important and what is irrelevant. And if you don't take control of that process, your brain will default to focusing on fear, doubt, and negativity. But if you train yourself to look for solutions, to focus on progress, to find reasons to be grateful, your entire experience of life will change. Most people have a habit of focusing on what's missing instead of what they have. They constantly think about what they don't have yet, what they haven't achieved, what's wrong in their lives. And because they are focusing on lack, they feel frustrated, discouraged, and unfulfilled. But when you shift your focus to what you already have, to the progress you've made, to the resources available to you, to the strengths you possess, you create a completely different emotional state. You go from feeling like a victim of your circumstances to feeling like the creator of your own destiny. Your focus also determines your level of resilience. When challenges arise, do you focus on how hard they are, or do you focus on how you can overcome them? Do you focus on what you've lost, or do you focus on what you can learn from the experience? The people who rise above adversity are not the ones who have the easiest lives. They are the ones who have trained themselves to focus on solutions instead of problems. They don't waste time complaining about what went wrong. They ask themselves, what can I do right now to move forward? And because they direct their focus toward action instead of excuses, they keep making progress even in the face of setbacks. If you want to change your life, you have to change what you focus on. That starts with awareness. Pay attention to where your thoughts go throughout the day. Are you focusing on what's within your control, or are you obsessing over things you can't change? Are you looking for opportunities, or are you fixating on problems? Are you focusing on your strengths, or are you dwelling on your weaknesses? Every thought you think is shaping your reality. If you want a different life, you need to start choosing different thoughts. Another key to mastering your focus is controlling your environment. If you surround yourself with negativity, negative people, negative news, negative social media, you are training your brain to focus on negativity. But if you intentionally expose yourself to positive influences, books, podcasts, conversations that inspire and challenge you, you will start programming your mind to focus on growth and possibility. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the thoughts you repeat daily, all shape what your brain sees as important. And what your brain sees as important determines your entire experience of life. Most people drift through life without ever consciously directing their focus. They allow their thoughts to be shaped by their circumstances, by other people, by external events they have no control over, and because of that, they feel lost, overwhelmed, and stuck. But the moment you take control of your focus, the moment you decide to direct your attention toward what empowers you instead of what weakens you, everything changes. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And the quality of your life is ultimately determined by what you choose to focus on. The words you speak to yourself shape your reality, your internal dialogue. What you tell yourself day in and day out determines the level of confidence you have, the way you respond to challenges, and ultimately the results you create in your life. Most people don't realize how much their self-talk is sabotaging them. They don't see how the constant negativity, the self-doubt, and the limiting beliefs they repeat in their minds are keeping them stuck. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or I always fail, you are reinforcing a mental pattern that limits your potential. And the more you repeat these statements, the more they become part of your identity. Your mind is always listening and it takes your words as truth. If you constantly tell yourself you're not smart enough, not strong enough, not capable enough, your brain will find evidence to support that belief. It will filter out any proof that contradicts it and highlight anything that reinforces it. That's how the mind works. It seeks to validate what you already believe. And if you keep telling yourself negative stories, those stories become your reality. But the good news is you can change this. You can take control of your self-talk and use it to build yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. You can choose words that empower you, words that push you forward instead of holding you back. Most people don't realize that the way they talk to themselves is a habit. They have been speaking to themselves a certain way for years without even questioning it. They think their thoughts are just reflections of reality, but in truth, their thoughts are shaping reality. Every time you say, I'm not good at this, you reinforce that belief. Every time you say, I'm a failure, you program your mind to expect failure. But if you start saying, I am capable, I am resilient, I always find a way, you start shifting your internal dialogue. When your inner dialogue changes, your actions change. When your actions change, your results change. Your self-talk is not just about what you say in big moments, it's about the little things you tell yourself every single day. When you wake up in the morning, do you say, I feel exhausted, today is going to be terrible, or do you say, I'm ready to attack the day? When you face a challenge, do you say, this is too hard, I can't handle it, or do you say, I will figure this out, I always do? These small statements may seem insignificant, but over time they add up. They shape your mindset, they shape your confidence, they shape your ability to take action. Think about how you would speak to a friend or a loved one if they were struggling. Would you tell them, you're worthless, you're never going to succeed, you should just give up? Of course not. Yet so many people talk to themselves this way every single day. They criticize themselves harshly. They focus on their failures instead of their progress. They hold themselves to impossible standards and then beat themselves up when they fall short. If you wouldn't speak to someone else that way, why do you speak to yourself that way? The way you talk to yourself matters. It sets the tone for how you show up in the world, how you handle adversity, and how you pursue your goals. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to start treating yourself like someone you care about, to start speaking to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and belief. Instead of saying, I'll never be successful, say, I am learning and growing every day. Instead of saying, I always mess things up, say, I am getting better with every experience. Instead of saying, I don't have what it takes, say, I have everything I need within me. At first, this may feel unnatural. If you've spent years speaking negatively to yourself, shifting to positive self-talk will take effort. But just like any habit, the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Another important aspect of self-talk is how you frame challenges. Most people see obstacles as proof that they are not good enough, that they are not capable, that they should quit. But successful people use their self-talk to reframe challenges as opportunities. Instead of saying, this is too hard, they say, this is making me stronger. Instead of saying, I'm failing, they say, I'm learning valuable lessons. Instead of saying, I'll never get through this, they say, I have overcome challenges before, and I will overcome this too. This shift in language changes everything. It changes the way you experience setbacks, the way you handle stress, the way you push forward when things get tough. Your self-talk also determines your level of confidence. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build through repetition. And one of the most powerful ways to build confidence is through the words you speak to yourself. If you constantly tell yourself you are not good enough, your confidence will shrink. But if you constantly remind yourself of your strengths, your past successes, and your ability to figure things out, your confidence will grow. Confidence comes from certainty, and certainty comes from repetition. If you repeatedly tell yourself, I am capable, I am strong, I am unstoppable, your mind will start to believe it, and when your mind believes it, your actions will reflect it. Another key to mastering your self-talk is eliminating self-imposed limitations. Many people talk themselves out of opportunities before they even try. They say, I'm not the kind of person who can do that, or I could never achieve that. But these statements are not facts, they are just beliefs. And beliefs can be changed. Instead of saying, I can't, start asking, how can I? Instead of saying, that's impossible for me, start saying, what would it take to make this possible? The way you phrase things in your mind determines whether you take action or stay stuck. If you keep telling yourself that something is impossible, you will never even attempt it. But if you ask yourself how you can make it happen, your brain will start looking for solutions. The truth is, your self-talk is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It can push you forward or it can hold you back. It can build you up or it can tear you down. And the choice is entirely yours. You have the power to rewrite the stories you tell yourself. You have the power to shift from a mindset of doubt and limitation to a mindset of confidence and possibility. It won't happen overnight, but every time you choose words that empower you instead of words that weaken you, you are training your mind for success. You are programming yourself to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to take action instead of making excuses, to believe in yourself instead of doubting yourself. No one else can do this work for you. No one else can control the words you speak to yourself. You have to make the decision to take control of your inner dialogue, to stop allowing negativity and self-doubt to run your life, to consciously choose words that move you forward. Because at the end of the day, your self-talk is shaping your destiny. The words you speak to yourself will either propel you towards success or keep you stuck in struggle. And the moment you decide to take control of those words is the moment everything starts to change. Your habits are the foundation of your life. Everything you achieve or fail to achieve is a direct result of the small, consistent actions you take every single day. Most people think success is about one big moment, one breakthrough, one massive action that changes everything. But the truth is, success is built in the tiny, seemingly insignificant choices you make repeatedly. Your habits determine your results. They shape your mindset, your health, your relationships, your finances, everything. If you have powerful habits, you create momentum, progress, and growth. If you have weak habits, you create frustration, stagnation, and failure. Most people don't realize that they are being controlled by their habits. They go through life on autopilot, repeating the same routines, thinking the same thoughts, reacting to situations the same way. They don't stop to question whether their habits are leading them towards success or keeping them stuck in struggle. They just assume that this is how life is, that this is how they are. But the reality is, your habits are not who you are, they are what you do. And anything you do, you can change. You are not stuck with the habits you have now. You can rewire your patterns, reshape your behaviors, and create habits that drive you toward the life you want. The problem is that most people don't build their habits consciously. They don't intentionally design routines that serve them. Instead, they fall into habits by default, habits created by their environment, their upbringing, their past experiences. They don't choose their habits choose them. And because of this, they end up stuck in cycles of procrastination, self-doubt, and inaction. They know they need to change, but they struggle to follow through. They try to create new habits, but fail because they approach it the wrong way. They rely on motivation, thinking they need to feel inspired to take action. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you wait until you feel motivated, you will never be consistent. The key to building powerful habits is discipline, not motivation. It's about training yourself to take action regardless of how you feel. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to build good habits is that they try to change too much at once. They set massive goals, try to overhaul their entire life overnight, and then get overwhelmed. They go from never working out to trying to hit the gym 7 days a week. They go from eating junk food to attempting an extreme diet. They go from never reading to trying to finish a book every day. And when they inevitably fall off track, they feel like failures and give up. The secret to building strong habits is to start small. Instead of trying to make a huge change, focus on tiny improvements. If you want to get fit, start by doing just 5 push-ups a day. If you want to read more, start by reading just 1 page. If you want to wake up earlier, start by setting your alarm 10 minutes earlier instead of 2 hours. The goal is to make the habit so small that it's impossible to fail. Because success in habits is not about how big you start. It's about consistency. The people who achieve massive success in any area of life are not the ones who make the biggest changes overnight. They are the ones who build momentum through small, consistent actions. They show up every day even when they don't feel like it. They don't let one bad day throw them completely off track. They don't rely on willpower. They create systems that make it easy to succeed. They set up their environment to support their habits instead of relying on sheer discipline. Because the truth is, your environment plays a huge role in your habits. If you surround yourself with distractions, temptations, and negativity, it will be nearly impossible to stay consistent. But if you set up your space, your schedule, and your surroundings in a way that makes good habits easy and bad habits hard, you will naturally fall into the right behaviors. Think about your daily routines. Are they designed to push you forward or hold you back? Do you wake up and immediately check your phone, flooding your mind with distractions and negativity before you even start the day? Or do you have a morning routine that sets you up for success? Exercise, journaling, planning your goals. Do you surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you, or do you spend time with people who drag you down with excuses and negativity? Your environment is shaping your habits, whether you realize it or not. If you want to build strong habits, you have to take control of your surroundings. Another key to mastering your habits is tracking your progress. Most people fail to build habits because they have no accountability. They don't measure their progress, so they don't see how much they are improving. And when they don't see results, they lose motivation and quit. But when you track your habits, even in the simplest way, you create momentum. You give yourself proof that you are moving forward. Even something as simple as marking an X on a calendar every day you complete your habit can be incredibly powerful. Because once you see progress, you won't want to break the streak. The more you reinforce the habit, the stronger it becomes. One of the most important things to understand about habits is that they are not about what you do, they are about who you become. If you focus only on the actions, you will struggle to stay consistent. But if you shift your identity, habits become effortless. Instead of just trying to work out, become the type of person who never misses a workout. Instead of just trying to read more, become a reader. Instead of just trying to be more productive, become the kind of person who takes massive action. When you align your identity with your habits, you remove the internal battle. You stop trying to force yourself to do something and start acting in alignment with who you believe you are. This is why small wins are so powerful. Every time you complete a habit, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Every time you exercise, you are proving to yourself that you are someone who values their health. Every time you take action on your goals, you are proving to yourself that you are someone who follows through. These small wins add up over time, and eventually they become part of your identity. When something becomes part of your identity, it no longer requires effort. It becomes automatic. Most people quit on their habits because they focus too much on immediate results. They expect to see massive change overnight, and when they don't, they give up. But success is not about instant gratification. It's about long-term commitment. The person who stays consistent with small habits for years will always outperform the person who goes all in for a few weeks and then burns out. The key is to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. Instead of obsessing over how much progress you've made, focus on showing up every day and doing the work. Focus on mastering the habit, not just the results. Because results come naturally when you stay consistent. Building strong habits is not about being perfect, it's about making progress. It's about getting back on track when you fall off. It's about committing to the long game instead of looking for quick fixes. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. If you commit to small, consistent actions, you will be shocked at how much you can accomplish over time. The most successful people in the world are not the most talented, the most intelligent, or the luckiest. They are the ones who master their habits. They are the ones who show up every day, put in the work, and refuse to quit. And the moment you take control of your habits, the moment you decide to build the routines that will push you towards success, is the moment everything in your life begins to change.